Good afternoon, and thank you for having me and listening to me. Today I am going to be talking about an update on handling redundancy with compassion, and then when this lockdown is over, having employees returning to work and what that entails for the employer. We'll also be dealing with circumstances like handling annual leave and the health and well-being. So as you know, the country has moved to level 9 restrictions from Wednesday last week for 6 weeks in an urgent attempt to stop the spread of coronavirus. During this period, only workers providing an essential service for which their physical presence is required are permitted to go to work. All others must work from home. As a result, many businesses have been forced to lay off staff or to reduce their working hours temporarily during this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Some may also have been forced to consider redundancies. During this current lockdown, and with the announcement of level 5 restrictions, the government announced a new band of pandemic unemployment payment, the PUP. It's of $350 per week for those unable to work and who had been earning more than $400 per week. Existing PUP recipients who earned more than $400 are to have their rates automatically increased to $350. Otherwise, current rates apply, whereby a weekly payment of $300 is paid to those whose earnings were over $300 per week prior to the pandemic, and €250 applies for those who earned between $200 and $300, and a lower rate of $203 remain for those who earned less than $200 a week before COVID-19. In a revision of the Employment Wage Subsidy Scheme, employers whose turnover has fallen by more than 30% due to COVID-19 will get a flat rate subsidy based on the number of qualifying employees. Under the new scheme, due to run until the end of January 2021, the bands will increase from 3 to 5, the highest of which will see employers earn $350 per week for those earning between $400 and $1,462. A lot more information is available on gov.ie or on the social welfare websites for employers to avail of. So we're hoping there won't be redundancies, but I have already experienced some employers who have got to make redundancies. So I want to talk about how we can handle those redundancies. So with unemployment and redundancies increasing, now is the time to think about how employees can minimise the short and long-term negative impacts on those losing their jobs. It's never a good time to let workers go, and no employer is likely to approach the task with indifference. But being made redundant in the current context of a severe economic downturn and global pandemic will likely make the event even worse for those affected. While many employers may not ultimately be able to stave off redundancies, they can still make a significant difference to how those at risk of redundancy and those made redundant deal with the process. Making the decision to make some employees redundant can weigh heavily on the minds of those responsible for implementing it. This is understandable, but for managers it's important to try and separate the personal from the process in hand. That doesn't mean behaving like a mechanical robot, but instead engaging with emotion in a calm and balanced way. So I would suggest you take it one step at a time. Employers should explore alternative options to making redundancies, and this is the time to be creative with other ways to cut costs. Some of these may include recruitment freezes, pay to bonus cuts, and short time working. It's vital to plan the process properly. ensuring enough time is incorporated for meaningful consultation and for employees to ask questions. As a result, getting information to deal with people's concerns should be carried out well in advance. The importance of transparency and holding open forums where people can ask questions is vital. Otherwise, the risk of the rumour mill taking over grows. So how do we ensure empathy as part of the remote process? Making redundancies at present also means overcoming the logistical issues associated with carrying out such a serious process in a remote way. Given the large sectors of the workforce are likely to be working from home or temporarily laid off already, this is more than a logical challenge. However, it also means thinking about how the message will be delivered remotely to people with empathy and compassion. The key aim is to treat people with dignity, respect and fairness. So ideally conduct any meetings or consultation with employees using a video link so that the message, the manager giving the message and breaking the news can maintain eye contact and gauge the person's response. The advice is to be direct and humane, as well as clear and concise. It's very hard not to take redundancies news personally, but to mitigate the response, it's important to emphasise that it's not about the individual's performance and their contribution is very much valued. Be prepared to explain the business reasons for the job cuts and be clear about how the organisation will support them. The organisation also needs to make sure that those implementing the redundancy process and dealing with staff concerns have support themselves. This is a very stressful time and a very stressful process to be involved in. It's also important not to overpromise when offering support and showing empathy to individuals affected by redundancy. This means not committing to things the organisation can't realistically deliver on, such as telling those made redundant that they can have their job back when business picks up. Offering false hope would not be good for long-term well-being, even if this hope is offered out of empathy.